What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome along to the Aotearoa track and field news for this week, the 16th of December 2021. We're almost done and dusted for 2021, but not before we get through the 5 top stories in running, jumping, throwing and walking. And we can't forget the walkers in this past week that's just gone. Now, straight off the bat, we had Porsha Bing. Porsha Bing is our reigning New Zealand women's 400 metre champ. She is very fast over the one lapper. Previously a heptathlete, of course. She's just opened up her season with a really solid 400 metre flat time, which I was very impressed with. So she dropped a time of 53.67, which is not too far out off her best, which her best was set quite a while ago, actually, back in 2014 of a 53.38. So not too far off that. Now this time is a couple of seconds faster than her her hurdle 400 metre time, but really good signs that she's heading in the right direction. Now also in that race, as we just check out Portia's Instagram here, she was also did a little interview with Aaron Booth on the Athletes platform. So if you haven't already, be sure to check out his podcast. The Athletes platform also got a Instagram and maybe a YouTube as well. So make sure you check out what he's up to there, doing some really cool interviews with New Zealand athletes. Now, also in that race, alongside Porsha Bing, well, second back to be exact, was a young 17-year-old by the name of Maya Powell. Now, sorry, Maya, if your name's actually Mia, I'm going to go with Maya. It might be Mia. Jump in the comments and correct me, everyone, if I get that wrong. So Maya Powell, second in that 400 metre race in a time of 54.97. Now this is an improvement of 4 seconds from Maya's last best 400 metre performance last year. So really heading in the right direction. Now here we have the standings for under 18 women in the one lapper. She's a good second clear of Emily Fairclough. And then back to Lucy Sheenan, another second back. So Maya running very, very well and keeping hot on the heels of Porsha Bing, who, as we know, will be hopefully aiming for a World Champs team again. She went to 2019 for the 400 hurdles, and let's see if she can book her slot for the World Champs in Eugene and maybe the Com Games as well. Now, also talking about 400 metres, we head over to the boys where we had James Ford, who is more known as a middle distance runner. He's your reigning North Island 1500 metre champ, won the championship record in that event. So blazing fast middle distance runner. He dropped a time of 49.61 in the weekend. He's just 16 years of age, and that was in the 400 metres, so cracked that 50-second barrier, which is always a big deal for a middle distance runner. When they get that one ticked off, then it says, look, you can go through in a sub 55 first lap in the 800 and feel a lot more comfortable about that, knowing that you've got sort of a 5-second buffer there. Now, last weekend, he also dropped a 152.75 in the 800 metres, so a 152. Now, to give you an example, there he is. Was that from, that was from a few weeks ago. Maybe just out dipping the Pakuranga athlete. But James is one of several. There's his time, so 49.61 in the 400, 152 last week in the 800. So everything's heading in the right direction. And there you can see that championship record in the intermediate boys at the North Island secondaries in the 1500. But everything's heading in the right direction for this young kid from King's College, because another King's College athlete, James Harding, currently holds the under 17 record for the 800 metres. But I want to say that maybe James Ford has his eye on this little time. It's 1 second and 1.5 seconds out of his PB. But let's see if James Ford can take down the other James in the 800 metres. But it certainly seems like James has some good wheels at this stage in the season. So some big things to come from him this summer. All right, on to the shorter sprints. Tiaan Whelpton, he was one of the big stars last summer, really going head-to-head with Eddie in the 100 before pulling up with a hamstring injury in Auckland in late February, which put him out for the rest of the season. So this season, we're expecting big things from this boy and lifting big things for starters. Before we get onto his first 100-metre time that I've seen this season, look in the background, Tom Walsh. Tom Walsh is watching you lift. You know you got to perform. Misses that one, so we lose Tom. Tom gives up. He says, come on, boy. I expect more from you there. Here he goes, cleaning 150, gets it done, moves up to 155 kg, that's 340 pounds. And look, so he's strong, he's looking fit and sharp. On the track, he ran 10.22, so that's a very solid time. It would have been a PB, but for a strong tailwind of 3.5. But his PB of 10.30 surely will go down this summer, and I can't wait to see him and Eddie go head to head. Yeah, that's going to be so exciting in the 100 metres. Now, also in the 100 metres, I can't let a talk go without referring to these two women, Zoe Hobbs and Anna Percy, who have just, Zoe Hobbs, of course, she's been the queen of 100 metre running in New Zealand for the last few years, claimed this year an equal sharing of the New Zealand 100 metre record in that 10.32. So these two both raced this weekend just gone. Now, so who got the better of who? They're racing at different ends of the country. Anna in Christchurch, Zoe in Auckland. Who got the better? You work this one out for me, because Anna Percy ran the faster time in 11.46 to Zoe Hobbs 11.47, so 0.01 of a second separating them. But Anna had a strong tailwind of 2.4 meters per second, whereas Zoe had a headwind of negative 1.1. Let's work that one out. I'm going to give this weekend's battle to Zoe, but of course Anna Percy's backing up that 11.40 PB, which was just a massive PB and puts her within 0.1 of a second of Zoe. So these two are going to go head to head all summer long. I can't wait for the first time we get to see them match up. But Anna and Zoe looking strong as usual. Now over to the distance events. Over in Melbourne, we had the Melbourne Marathon, which had the half marathon and the 10K. Now the best performing Kiwi out of all of those events was Rebekah Greene, who I believe is maybe basing herself over there at the moment. Shame to see her leave Kiwi shores, but good that she's running well over there. She came second in the 10K in a new PB of 34.16. So that was a really solid run, and you can see there by the lack of people around her, she was clear second place. And how cool is this? So you do 9.6K in Melbourne, and then you jump into the MCG for the last 400 meters. Man, that would be so epic. Finishing on this little mat across the plush green surfaces of the Melbourne cricket ground. Now also in that race we had Lydia O'Donnell finishing in 2:44 in the marathon. Now we know that she's probably a quicker runner at her best, but she was struggling, I think, with some injury or maybe some illness. So she did well to actually finish that, and still in a really credible time, 2:44, finishing in 9th place. Also had Ben Moynihan in the half marathon, finishing in 1:09 in 14th place. The fifth and final point of the news this week. Gail Kirkman, this woman here on the right wearing all the medals, she added another accolade to her name in the Masters running ranks here in New Zealand, taking out the women's 70 800 metre record in a time of 3:04.67. 3 minutes 4 seconds and 0.67. Now that's a minute or so slower than the likes of Angie Petty and Catherine Camp. But let's work out how many minutes per K you're doing it, and think about how most 70-year-olds or 70-plus-year-olds move at that sort of age. So she's running an average of 3 minutes 50 per K, which is incredible. So incredible for that double lapper. 3:04. So Gail, well done for getting what I'm sure is another New Zealand Masters record. She will be looking to target the New Zealand Masters champs coming up later in the summer. But that rounds up our news of the Aotearoa Track and Field News. My name is Hayden Sherman. Thanks for tuning in. We're quickly running out of weeks in the year, so hopefully we'll get in one more episode before the year rounds out. But thanks for listening, everyone. Ciao!